So what's on your mind
Thank you
today?
for having me. I know we chatted yesterday a little bit about, I'm like, what are we going to talk about? And there's so much to talk about, but I don't even know what to talk about because everybody is somewhere else. And I think we talked a little bit about the news and how the news are like, so first of all, my name is Sonja Stolzenberg. I'm German, was born and raised in Germany, and therefore I'm always on time. Yes, I'm always 5 minutes early. It's just what happens no matter where I go. Been in real estate for 21 years now, mostly in the beginning behind the scene. I did all the admin. I was a TC. I was doing everything. And then about in 2015, I joined Keller Williams, and that's when my career took off. And since then, I've been in the top 20 for my market center and on the ALC. I'm culture share. I was last year very proud of this. I was culture ambassador for Southern California for Keller Williams. So culture means everything to me. And yeah, that's me.
Well, again, that's plenty. That's plenty. So, expound on, like we talked about, the news. And I think that buys into, I'd say, your mindset, because I had a gentleman sitting in my office last Thursday, and he's the most negative, pessimistic guy that I know. And I basically, I had to check him. And I'm like, look, Warren, I'm not going to listen to that, because my reality is my boots are on the ground and I'm seeing a different reality than you're hearing. And he's not even in the business anymore. Right. So I think you can either buy into that, or you can profit from the truth. Right.
Yes.
So,
I noticed, like, I stopped actually watching the news a couple of years ago because it's always so negative, and it's always about shootings, stabbings. It's just all negative. And if there's something big happening, somebody will tell me and I find out. And this might be ignorant or not, but I chose not to watch news because they're always negative. So the same as with real estate news, it's all about negativity, and the news wouldn't be the news if they said positive stuff. So they only sell negative news usually. So therefore they only sell the negative real estate news. And right now, I found the biggest thing for me in my world is educating clients, basically anybody I can, and twist that around and be like, no, this is not bad news. And really show what's happened in the last 2 years. Because I'm German, I'm extremely numbers oriented. I dive deep into the numbers, and so I have graphics. I can go into, I know the numbers, and I can explain what happened. And so I spoke last week at my office, not my office, my husband's office. I go there twice a year or 3 times a year, depending on, and teach a class about real estate. And what I was going over, like the numbers, because everybody thinks we crashed or we're crashing and your value went down in your home. And I'm like, yes, it did. However, if you basically scratch for San Diego County anyways, if you scratch all of last year, then we are even. Like, we didn't lose any value. In San Diego, we went, last year we went up in 4 months, we went up 150 grand. In 8 months, we went down 150 grand. So basically last year is a wash. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, because most people, anyways, in my world, they live in the property at least 2 years, usually like 5 years or 7 years. And so who cares if it went up and down? And my clients from this year, that I had a family that bought 3 years ago with me, 2019, 4 years ago. And so I met with them, and they're moving out of state. And I explained to them, because every seller right now knows exactly when we topped the market and what that value was. They know exactly their house was worth over 1.1 because they get market updates from me. So they know. And I'm like, well, right now it's 950. And they were like, wow, that's a huge drop. I'm like, well, let's talk about when you bought in 2019. You bought for 700. So you're still at $1 million or 950. You still made $250,000 in 4 years. And they were like, oh, well, that sounds great. And they were like on board. They were like, like, again, it's like this, it's just what they think and what they know, and the market is negative. And so I bring them down to reality. I'm like, you made a lot of money for owning a property, and we thought you bought on top of the market. You paid top dollar, you had multiple offers that you competed with and you won. So, well, it turns out that property, because it was absolutely the best property in that neighborhood, and they were amazing. Their house looked like it was staged, and they have 2 little kids. And we sold it for $105,000 above list price. So we sold it for $1,055,000, which is basically $45,000 below the highest point. But that's still $350,000 in the pocket. And that's kind of what I'm telling people, like I'm trying to educate them. I don't, even if you don't buy or sell right now, I need to educate you so you can make a good decision and take away the value is such a perception. It's all about when you sell. And for being German, I used to be very negative. I used to be very pessimistic. And for some reason in America, I learned I'm very positive. I'm not worried about the crash. I'm not worried about, well, we're not crashing anyways. I'm not worried about a slow year. I'm not worried about last year, like everybody was freaking out and I had the best year ever. And you cannot let that negativity affect you. And because it's all about you anyways. And
Absolutely.
like what your marketing is, what you do, what you put out there. So for me, it was really like, even this year at the award ceremonies, people were like, oh, it was such a bad year. I closed so many units less. And I'm like, I had from the GCI, I had the best year ever. I'm like, I don't, like I worked. And so I always try to shift people's mindset to, no, this is a good thing. You just have to be educated. And for buying, it's exactly the same. It might not be the best time to buy right now, but renting is insane here too. So why not, if you can afford it, buy. So I'm very positive, and this is like unusual for me, for Germans.
Well, and I'll tell you what's I think the reason why I feel so connected to you is you educate. And I mean, you educate me because again, I follow you, I get your information, and I hope the same is true. I feel like I know so much about San Diego and San Diego County. Now I've got a sister who lives about 50 minutes from you in that direction. But again, I think at the end of the day, I tell people that my responsibility is to expose you to opportunities and educate you. And I feel, you and I are in congruency there. And I think that's the reason why your business is doing so well. And again, you don't buy into the negativity, because right now what we know is our mindsets are so important today. I think more than ever. And who you work with matters, and who you surround yourself with matters all day. So
yeah, I love going into the office because I thrive on it. I love on the energy, talking to other people. That's something that if I can help somebody, and I teach at night, I have now a mentee on my team that she's brand new. I thrive of it. I get the energy out of it. And I know during COVID, a lot of us went back home. I'm at home right now at my home office too. However, I still go into the office, and that's like my first thing when I teach. I'm out, like a new agent's like, what should we do? I'm like, come to the office every single day and listen, take a class. We have tons of classes, and interview top producers. Like, we are just people. We are not doing anything else than anybody else. We're just doing it on a higher level. And I'm very honest and say what I think, which can be good and bad, but people appreciate that. I realized like over the years that people love that I'm brutally honest. And that's, again, for my clients that trust me, because I know what they get. They know when I don't like something, or if the house is not good, I will tell them. Not on a note where I'm like, hey, I don't like the house. I'm like, this is not a good house because of XYZ. And they love it. They trust me. So that's kind of, and that's honesty. But so I'm negative in a way that I tell the truth, but I'm always see the positive. if that makes
Well,
sense.
and so don't blame that on being German. I think you're true and you're authentic to who you are. And so
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Plano, Texas, and so I'm in 100% agreement with you. And so it is what it is.
But
And I
that's
think
yeah, it's something that I had to learn though. Like I was a whole different person 20 years ago because moving to the States and everything is like, I had to learn to grow, and Keller Williams was huge in helping me grow in a way that I love what I do. I grew into who I am, which I feel like in Germany it was very suppressed. And now I know who I am. And if you don't like it, go away. I don't care. Like, I don't need you. So
yeah, they're not part of your tribe, right?
yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
So and we don't have to worry about that. So talk to me about because of your schedule, which again, I think you honor your schedule, and it's something that I struggle with. I got to get better. It's a growth opportunity for me. I think because of your travel and your schedule, uh, talk to me about your year, how you set your year up. And again, right now, I'm on a 12-week year, and I think that tell me about yours.
I do a 10 months year. Because I always travel. I travel about 2 months a year because I'm from Germany. And even if I don't, let's say I go to Germany for 2 weeks, the week after I don't really work. And the week before I will crunch, I get business. I'm usually busy while I'm on vacation, but I know I'm traveling. And so I base my whole calculation is based on 10 months, not 12 months. December, I always work. And that's not like I'm taking off. Well, if I'm on vacation, I do take off. But let's say the other reason is like during the holidays in December, everybody is slow, people are busy. I'm still working. However, I plan that this is not going to make or break my year, because in December, I always know my husband is free between Christmas and New Year's. We are always at his parents' house, or they are here. So, and it's people are with family, and I know I'm not going to work. Even if I work, it's not the same. I'm not going to really lead generate because people are just busy and with family. So I calculate everything based on 10 months. And even though you say I have a schedule, I'm really bad with my schedule with lead gen. However, if I have an appointment, I will be there. Like my appointments are on my calendar. I'm always early. I'm always there 100%. My lead gen, everything I put in between, I'm not very good at it. But I learned that if I put in my calendar, I'm going to lead gen from 9 to 10, more than likely it's not happening. So I know who I am and how it works. My favorite time is to call people in the afternoon. So I get everything done because I'm that organized, I want to get my calendar clear. I want to get my emails done in the morning. And then I'm relaxed and I can call people.
Well, again, you're true to who you are, and and I think again, people appreciate that. And like I said, I'm on a 12-week year, and I mentioned to my coach even this morning that I think because of my age or my energy level, call it what you want to, I can sprint. It's difficult for me now to do a marathon, and I know that my 12-week year ends June 31st or June 30th. And so, Christina, you're hearing me now since you're back in town, sweetie, that my plan is to put my head down and really focus and do things that I should be doing, because I can get it done through June. Right now, I just can't imagine August and September or November, right? So I can focus in the short period. So it works for me. So I appreciate you sharing that, because I think it was important for some to hear that you might be behind when you look at your first quarter numbers, because I am. And if I'm basing everything on the year, you think that you have time to make that up. But in reality, you really don't. And I think we chatted about it yesterday. Gary and other top professionals are saying right now we need to front load our business, because everything needs to be done for the most part by the end of the third quarter, because they expect the fourth quarter to be pretty shaky and dicey. So If you have that opportunity, then again, let's get it. Let's get it now, and let's have a record-breaking second and or third quarter. So, and I know that's your goal also.
Yeah, I had a really good first quarter. For me, I only sell about 20 units a year, which is, we have a whole different price point. So I can, that's a good 20 units is fine, great. I would always want to double it. And my goal is to do it this year. I'm at 8 units right now. So I'm ahead, or I'm on track to, get where I want to get. And, like, I don't get like people like this year is going to be difficult. It's going up and down. I'm like, yes, and there are always going to be people selling and buying no matter what, because of divorces, deaths, relocation, kids, need to go into a different school system. So yes, you have to work harder, because it's like our inventory doesn't exist really. However, it's going to be there, and that's why the database is so important, that you love on your database.
Absolutely.
And I just signed up for a new system, and I will see how it goes. It's Client Giant. So all my top clients that are my A+ clients, well, not all, I'm trying it, so half of them, they get now every quarter a gift. And I've been doing pop-by, well, not pop-bys anymore. I do mailers or gifts through the mail, because I do all of San Diego County, so that's a lot of driving. And they know me. They love that I get even my postcards and everything. They know I'm on top of their mind. And so I'm trying this Client Giant, because it's a step even bigger, to give them actually gifts like every quarter, and I don't have to worry about it. It gets all sent to them. So this is kind of, I hope to, even be more on top of mind, and they feel like they owe me, so they can wish me.
Yes, absolutely. And I've heard about that. And I think a couple of friends have mentioned it, and or they're also thinking about trying it. Quickly before we go, in San Diego, most Texans think that San Diego, because it's very expensive. Where is your average, buyer or seller? Where do they fall in a price range?
This year, so far, it has been actually quite low. My lowest was 315, which was a tiny cabin in Julian. And then, so my average was around $500,000, which is low, because I do a lot of first-time home buyers. And then I got 2 properties that were in a retirement community. They're way lower. But then my last listing that I just closed for $1,055,000. So I do it all, but this year actually has been quite low compared to most years. And which is fine. And a lot of people always ask me, like, clients, like, oh, do you even do that? Like, would help me for 300,000, 400,000? Like, of course, who cares? Like, I do it all, because that client is gonna, if I do a good job, they're gonna refer me, they're gonna use me again. So price point here, I mean, our median sales price for detached homes is $960. So most of the condo properties are sold for condos. So
Well, see, I think most Texans think that San Diego, you're going to be $1 million for a shack. You're going to be $2 million for just a decent home, right? And to hear that, you're selling clients, first timers, mostly at 300, 400, even $500,000, because we're doing that here. And again, properties are different, but it's encouraging to hear that even a first timer can buy maybe at 450, and they may not be in San Diego, but they may be a little bit further out. But there is possibility or opportunities.
Yeah, it all kind of depends. And that's what I just had this discussion with my lender, because 20 years ago, most people would, they graduate, go college, go work, and they buy the first home when they're in their 20s. And they buy the first tiny condo, then they upgrade to the bigger condo, and then the house. And I had several clients do that right now, because it's more expensive. College or university is so expensive. I noticed that a lot of people skip that first step, and they wait until they're in their 30s, and they want to buy instantly that big, perfect dream house. I'm like, that's not realistic. even if you waited 10, 15 years before you bought, you should still think about your first time home buyer, buy that first condo, build your equity, and then go up. And I know that I had a lot of clients last year do that. They just bought the first $1 million home. I'm like, that's so strange, or like higher, like it's interesting how that shifted. And so yes, I mean, San Diego County is very big. Of course, if you're by the coast, you're not going to find a house under 1.5 right now, something decent. And if you go further, I mean, the house that I sold for $1,055,000 was about a 10-15 minute drive from the coast. So not far away at all. Great home, 3-bedroom house, 1,400 square feet. It's small. That's normal for here though. Like if you want a 2,000 square foot house, either you pay $2 million or you go further east. So there's definitely, we have all the price points. It just depends on what you want. You can't expect a $500,000 house on the coast. It's, like that's, I think what people forget, that we are, because where we are, that, there are opportunities, but it's not cheap.
2,000 square feet for 2 million plus. So yeah, that's mind blowing, but it is what it is, right? Well,
but yeah, if you want to get I can find you for $750 in Temecula, which is like an hour drive for like a big 3,000 square foot house. But in San Diego County, it gets very expensive. I mean, our normal size of a house is between 1,100 to 2,000. It's just very
right. It's what it is, and that's all right. So thanks for that bit of education, because we didn't know. We just knew the prices were high and the sizes were small. So
it's just, and that's kind of a lot of clients, like when I have my buyer consultation, I sit down and really go over what's important to them. And sometimes you have to circle back because they're like, we want brand new, like my client that's in escrow right now. They don't even like when it's 5 years old. Like we circled and then we looked at homes again that were updated because the price point was much better. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not what you want. And so we circled all the way back. They're buying a brand new house right now. And you got to be realistic on what you want. But sometimes it's like, we want to be really close to the ocean, but your dream house is not on the ocean. So you kind of have to figure out what's the most important for them.
Well, and again, you're patient, and you're willing to invest in the relationship and really what's best for them. And so I've heard that. Like I said, I circle back to you educating, and it also resonates, I can assure you, with everyone here today. So I appreciate you taking a few minutes. So is there any other thing that you want to impart on us before we leave and we all go get busy?
No, I really appreciate being here and being on the show, and would love to connect with you all. If you have had any questions, of course, let me know. I love teaching. I'm actually studying Keller Williams University, so I'm going to be, hopefully by the end of the year, a teacher, and can travel. I'm super excited about that because I love teaching.
You do.
If you have any questions, I would love to connect with you all. And
well, and I'm sure Christina probably added your information earlier because she's so good. But again, once we leave, if anyone needs Sonja's information, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to share it with you. And I can, again, she's good people, and that's what I'm impressed with. There's no pretentious. She's solid and she's genuine, and it doesn't matter that she's from Germany at all. I'm just saying.
Well, the Germans are the best, so whatever.
It adds on top of it. What are you saying?
I love my German friends. I do. So I look forward to seeing you. Soon, I'm sure, if not in Austin in May, hopefully at Mega Camp or something. So everyone join us, and you'll see Sonja there, and we'll toast up and have a drink. So guys, I appreciate you joining in today. And let's go.
Thank
Let's
you.
make it a great day, because again, someone needs our help. And Kelly, I think you had mentioned that I forgot to say, you know what, we bring the meat every week, right? So make sure you join in next week, because we've got another great family member who's bringing it all day, every day, and serving clients at a high level. And so I appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Thank you.